Hey there, are you ready to build a fitness business that becomes a true income producing asset? Then I welcome you to the Fitness Business Freedom Show, brought to you by Fitness Revolution. I am your host, Justin Hanover, and we have over 15 years of experience building thriving fitness businesses, and we are committed to sharing our knowledge and expertise with you. You can expect to hear proven business foundations and frameworks, success stories from our coaching partners, and guest experts to give you straight answers for your biggest questions. It doesn't matter if you have an online business, fitness facility, or operate as an independent trainer. You are in the right place to grow your business and create the personal freedom you desire. Welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Justin Hanover, success coach with Fitness Revolution. Now, before we dive in to today's episode, I want to share a little bit about who I have joining me and what you can expect to hear. So today I have the pleasure of speaking with Jonathan Price. And Jonathan began his personal training career at Pelham, Alabama YMCA at an age of 19 and has since held positions as a personal trainer and personal training director at both national chain gyms and local gyms. He currently holds the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist certification from NSCA, the Corrective Exercise Certification from NASM, and a Functional Range Conditioning Mobility Specialist from FAS. So that's a little bit of his background. And now, within this conversation, Jonathan, I wanted to point out, has been using Fitness Revolution as his source of guidance and mentorship since 5 months into starting his business. So he realized early on how powerful having the right guidance and mentorship is, and it has shown tremendously in his business because now, since starting with us, he has increased his yearly revenue 8 times over and is not showing any sign of slowing down. And as you'll hear in our conversation, this past year he even bought the building that he's operating in. So he's truly setting himself up for future success and being an owner of his business. And within our conversation, he shared some amazing foundations of what is working in his business currently, some past mistakes, and really important with him is he doesn't focus on flashy tactics, but more about truly building a culture of growth for himself, his team, and his clients. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring Jonathan on. Today's episode is brought to you by Fitness Revolution. So you started your fitness business and you've been in the game now for a few years. You might have even seen some good growth over those years, but now you feel stuck. You feel like the momentum you once had just isn't there and you don't know how to get it back. Should you be focusing on your marketing, your sales, or your team? What is the next bottleneck to focus on that will allow you to break the chains holding you back? That is a great question, and one of the biggest skills as an owner is to be able to understand and identify the next biggest issue to keep your business moving. And that is exactly why Fitness Revolution has created our proprietary needs assessment to allow you to quickly see where your business stacks up and receive immediate feedback on what to focus on next. It's a quick 10-question assessment that will be able to provide valuable feedback to get past sticking points and hit your next goal. Whether you are stuck or feeling frustrated with your current progress or even just want to dial in what's working, this assessment is the first step to making that happen. I invite you to head over to the show notes where a direct link to the needs assessment will be so you can easily access it there. Now let's jump into today's show. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to share your journey with us and our audience and being able to help other gym owners succeed.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So let's start with giving our listeners some perspective as to kind of who you are, that 1,000-foot overview and how you became the Jonathan that we're speaking to today.
Yeah. So I took an early interest in fitness and nutrition. I was kind of chubby as a kid / teenager. So that kind of started it. Played sports in high school, wanted to be a better athlete. So kind of got into the weights that way. And then from there, just progressed. I really liked how much not only my physical body improved, but also just my mindset and mental health. And I really wanted to be able to share that with other people and share what I've found to benefit their lives. So I kind of got, I did get into the personal training realm when I was 19. Started a local YMCA in my hometown in the summer. Fell in love with it, and from then on, honestly, I couldn't think of another job I'd want to do that wasn't in a gym. I like the atmosphere, I like the people, I like the effect that we can have on the well-being of people. So that was huge. And then, so when I went to college, I studied health and human performance as well as marketing. And then got started as a full-time trainer as soon as I got out of college, and just kind of grew from there. I did some local gyms, became a personal training manager at a couple of those, and then also did some chain gyms too, like 24 Hour Fitness and Gold's Gym. So I've run the gamut as far as types of gyms, from YMCA to a Gold's to a 24 Hour Fitness to the bigger local gyms. And then when my wife was done with her internship for her career, we moved back to her hometown of Reno, and that's when I went into business for myself. I really hated the limitation of working for someone else, especially when I thought that things could be done better to help our members and clients. So I became an independent contractor in 2010 at a place called South Reno Athletic Club, which was like my dream gym. It was an amazing gym. And that was a good jump start. I really learned how to kind of start learning the basics of business, and kind of continue that path through a couple of different places where I rented space as an independent contractor. But there was always that limitation, whether it be rules, whether it be equipment, whether it be time, we could train. And so, funny story is, I'm more the risk taker, I think, in mine and my wife's relationship. And I came home one day for lunch, and she was there with our newborn son, and I was complaining about the gym I was at. Didn't have this, or this was too crowded. She said, "Just open your gym already." And I kind of laughed.
And we need that push.
Yeah, and she said, "No, seriously, just open your gym." And I said, "Okay." You gave me the green light, hold my beer. But
exactly.
A week later, we signed a lease on a 2,000 square foot place down in Mendon, Nevada, which is about an hour south of Reno, right by Lake Tahoe, and started the journey of being official business owners, I guess, as far as brick and mortar goes. Built, painted, do all that stuff mostly myself. Got it open, and within about, I guess 5 months, I was kind of in this place where I'm kind of point to Fitness Revolution right now, but I was in this place where I was running this gym. I was working harder, but really wasn't making more money because my overhead was so high. And I just felt like I was an independent contractor that inherited a higher rent payment at that point, because it was still just me.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that's when I started reaching out, and honestly, I just Googled fitness business coaching, and FR came up first. Had a conversation with them, got set up, met Asa, and started my relationship with Fitness Revolution. And that's been a game changer, 100%. I mean, from the get-go, just a mindset shift from having that coaching changed. Fast forward about 3 months after that, I would say, roughly, I hired my first employee. She's still with us, so that's good. She's been with about 4 years now, give or take. And we actually really started to grow once I got on board with FR and got some employees. And then within 2 years, we outgrew that space and moved into a 4,800 square foot spot in the adjacent town, which is kind of one and the same town-wise, very close. And that was 2019, and we actually were able to purchase the building last summer. So things have, in 4 short years, have grown substantially. And honestly, I don't think I would have been able to have the confidence or the mindset to do it without having that coach by my side.
Yeah.
Probably early, probably weren't waiting for the plug for FR, but I definitely wanted to put it in there because it's a big part of my journey and to where we're at today. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would say you definitely have been on a great trajectory with how you've been going. I guess even in the time that I've been with FR myself, like earlier on when I started working with them and being able to talk to you and see where you're at that time and where you're at now, it's like you've stepped up to another level since that time. And I think I believe you've had probably close to another 10,000 monthly revenue since I think we even first spoke.
I think so.
Now, so I mean, it's definitely a testament to you, obviously, because I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one that has to take the action and do these things, and then it is a testament, obviously, like I said, like the power of having the right guidance and allowing you to take the right actions and minimize mistakes, because that's really what holds a lot of people back, is just if you're making too many mistakes, and that is going to really slow your progress down significantly. But it's pretty cool to hear your journey, though, and how it kind of got to where you are now. And it's interesting how you obviously get that push from your wife, and you said within a week you signed your lease, so it sounds like you definitely weren't you weren't necessarily had to like pull your leg to do it. So I think that's a great place to kind of transition now into talking more about obviously where you're at now with your business, and kind of shedding some light on what you've uncovered of what's been working, what hasn't been working, and what you're doing right now. So let's first start with, I mean, the big one for a lot of people is, let's say, like the marketing side of things. And that's where I think a lot of gym owners struggle, is understanding how to actually do that and to make progress with it consistently. So can you first shed some light on where maybe you made some mistakes personally when it came to marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like our marketing strategy is a little unique because we're in a very small town. Only about 50,000 people, thereabouts. And so, I first started, I kind of threw money at different things, like, support the high school team, put money to do this charity. But what I've had best results with is really person to person, like in-person type events where like I go to like a small charity dinner or something and actually meet people face to face, and then I maybe get connected to their business, or with I'm in a local, which I found really helpful actually, a local business networking group where you meet other business owners. So in the course of their day, and local is really big where we live, but in the course of their day, if they're cleaning someone's carpets and someone's like, I need to get back in shape, you're top of mind, like, oh, hey, I know this trainer, you should give him a call. So that's been really helpful. And then honestly, like word of mouth, doing a good job. That's been our big marketing strategy. I've tried social media. I suck at it. I'm so inconsistent. I still like come back to it and try to get going on. And, we're looking at maybe, having some of our staff do the social media, like different, nutrition, this person does nutrition posts, this person does, fitness type things, and then like another trainer does reels or something to that degree. Because I just won't do it. So social media has not been a big part for us. I do see an influx of leads when I do it, hot or cold, I can't really say. But yeah, just not for us, like just don't throw money at something. You really want to be able to, I want to be able to really connect with someone that can maybe get me in front of other people. So other business owners, businesses around the gym, stuff like that has been more helpful. In a small town, in a big city, it might be different. Paid marketing might be more beneficial because you have more competition to get in front of people. So tough to answer that question, but yeah.
In a lot more people. No, that makes sense, and I think it's great that to show that you're not relying on social media, and yet you are still experiencing the success that you are, and like off the record, I mean, like you just like shared with me that you have 8x'd your revenue growth since working with FR, and that's with not having a focus on social media. And I think that's great for people to hear that and know that, because so many people get so focused on social media thinking that's the only way to grow your business, when in reality, yes, it is a way, but it's not the only way. And like for your particular situation, it probably doesn't make sense. Like being in such a small town, like what better way and what faster way than actually building connections with people and talking to people? I mean, like there's no faster way you're going to do it. I mean, that instantly builds know, like, and trust. And I mean, we are in the people business. So that is like always important to remember, I guess, like what the industry is that you're really in, and what's going to obviously provide the most like
Yeah.
ROI for your effort.
Well, and
your
like
time.
people
And-
think too, they're like, oh, I
and,
just
I mean,
met this one person. Like, that's the only person. Like, no, like, if you spend the time, you know, if I do an event or I go to a charity, whatever, I meet that one person and build a relationship with them, that can branch off into dozens and, you know, hundreds eventually because of that, you know, that point of connection that I have with other people. I see that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, which it should. I mean, it should if you're looking at that as an actual viable way to grow your business. I think too many people, like you say, just look at like networking things, like they are talking to people. They don't look at it in the right way, like because like I said, I think they're so focused on like, oh, I want to get 10,000 impressions on this, and like they're looking at these big numbers when they're forgetting that. I mean, if you go at it with intention, I mean, true networking is very powerful. I mean, some of the highest paid people in the world
it's quality
are
over quantity
networkers.
too, right? I mean, I know some gym owners that get
Yeah.
50, 60 leads a month and they might convert 5. I would say an average,
what good is
4-year
that?
average is probably 6 to 10 leads per month, but I close 6 to 8 of them because and I'm not a salesy guy. It's just because they're warmer leads because their relationship has already been built on the back end somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great thing to point out there, and I'm glad that you shared that, you know, because it's not always about the sexy option. Sometimes it's simple as just remembering that the type of business you're in and also where you're located, and being in a small town. I mean, why would you not want everybody in that town to know you? I mean, that's and that makes a lot of sense to go at it with that avenue. And then, so that's, I guess, you consider that your external efforts. Then do you do like internal
we've
marketing
had
as
some
well?
really good results with that. We've run some like in-house referral contests that have gotten our visibility up and gotten some people in the door. And then just, you know, word of mouth stuff like, oh, I love training with so and so, and then they tell their friend. You know, that person's in there, and then it just spreads from there. So we get a lot of in-house referrals from our members because I think we try to take care of them, and we try to. I mean, I think it's a fun atmosphere. We try to treat everyone as like part of our family. You know, I try to know I think I do know every member that comes in the gym. We're at, I think, 135 members right now, but I know them all by name. I know, you know, their background, and we try to, you know, just good customer service too. Good service and good customer service, and then they're going to refer you to their friends and family.
Absolutely. I mean, people like feeling like they're valued and appreciated. You know, and that's again a big reason why they stay. It's the experience that you're creating for them there, and it's like, yeah, there's the initial problem of weight loss or strength or whatever it is, maybe why they started, but they keep coming because of what you just shared there, of like the environment that you're creating and how they feel when they're there, is so powerful. And that's, again, it all stems back to the human connection and relationship building. So do you do an actual formal referral, or have you just so integrated it into
just how we operate?
How we operate?
I've talked about having like a referral program, and you know, some of that stuff just falls by the wayside. But no, just, you know, we're always looking for bringing new people in, and I don't nothing really formal with the referral program. Sometimes when we run a referral contest, we'll actually be like formally asking. But I think people just, like I said, if you treat people right and provide a good service, they're gonna want their friends to join in on the benefits.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree. And again, I guess for the second time here, I feel like you're going against what people think are normal ways to do things, because most people think you have to like heavily incentivize somebody to do something for you, and clearly, obviously, you're showing that you don't. If you just make it a part of your culture, and this is how you guys operate as a unit and a facility, then people will adapt to that and follow what's being shown as acceptable behavior, if you will. And you don't have to, because then also too, I mean, especially when it comes to referrals, I think it does change the dynamic once it becomes something where you do this for me, I give this to you, and it makes it much more transactional. And I think it does affect the authenticity of the referral. And I think the way that you're going about it right now, obviously, is working really well. And I probably wouldn't change your approach.
Yeah, and like you said, the authenticity and how warm that lead might be too. I mean, if you're incentivizing, you might get, one good lead out of 10 that actually, have interest in joining the gym, and then you're kind of spinning your wheels.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard stories of people who they would give out they'd pay people $50 cash.
Wow.
For referrals, and people would bring people. Get the cash and then leave.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the type, you have to think of what you're going to be attracting when you do stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's an excellent point to shed some light on. So now kind of like moving into more of a broader spectrum, just in sense of I think you have a unique situation where you pretty much, for the most part, it sounds like you've had mentorship most of your journey, correct?
As far as being a brick and mortar business, yes. So we were open 5 months when I joined FR.
Okay, yeah. So I would say definitely not the norm. I mean, it's amazing that you've sought, obviously, mentorship so early on. And that's, I mean, obviously you're reaping the benefits of that and making less mistakes.
It's so easy to overthink, everything. Like, I'd been an independent contractor for, at that point, 7 years. I'd been in charge of my own clients, but taking that next step of building a business out of it, where you have people working for you and with you, it was kind of like paralysis by overanalysis, if you will. And I was like, I didn't invest all this money in the front end and all this money on this new monthly rent to kind of be status quo. I wanted to change, and for me, I always want to be growing, whether it's personally or physically or financially. It doesn't matter. I always want to be making that next step and improving, and I needed help with that.
No, it definitely. So I typically like to focus on I want to have you share a challenge that you walked through, and how that impacted your business coming out the other end of it. So I mean, since for the majority of the business that you have now, you've had that mentorship. So maybe you can shed some light on the benefits of what it's like to walk through a challenge with having the mentorship. What was that challenge, and how did the guidance help you come out the other end, and how did it affect your business?
I think if I'm reflecting on it, the biggest thing was making that transition from being the everything, the trainer, the bookkeeper, the whatever, and then to trusting someone to treat those clients as good as possible, as close as well as you would treat them. They're never going to do it as good as the business owner, in my opinion, because they have less skin in the game. But the transition from trusting other trainers with clients has been the big thing, because I got to a point again with AFR, I grew really fast, and then I was at a point where I was getting really burned out because my schedule was so full with clients, because I was a solo practitioner essentially. And then, emails and leads and marketing, all those things were falling to the wayside because I was just trying to stay afloat. So really learning to trust people, especially if you coach them appropriately, you can trust them to treat those clients well and continue growing. And, it's a small town, so we have other small town issues where there's not many people to choose from. And, the first real trainer I hired, I had to let go after 3 weeks. Second one didn't show up for his first day. And then the third one, which was Jessica, has been here almost 4 years now. And she has since grew in her career too, which I want to see. She's now also a licensed massage therapist and has her own business doing that while also still training clients here. So I like to see that. And so, it's been a journey with the employee thing, but we make some mistakes, and then we find, we upgrade. So I think we have a really good team right now. I'm excited for the future. But that was a big thing, is learning to be just a solo practitioner to actually having a team where you manage and realizing that you can't train everyone. And Asa and I at FR, we've had this back. I've probably done this 3 times where like, all right, I cleared my schedule a little bit. I'm a good place where I can manage the business, and then I start letting clients trickle in. So it's still something I'm working on.
Yeah.
And it just, but at least I'm aware of it now, and I get reminded of that. We had to let someone go last week, and the first thing when I called Asa, who is my coach at FR, she said, before you even think of making a decision, do you have someone on your bench to pick up the slack? Because she didn't want to see me absorbing those clients again. Because if I do that, then everything else falls to the wayside. My other trainers don't get mentored. They don't improve as well as they could because I'm just surviving. So I think that was a big challenge. Like probably the biggest challenge. It sounds like first world problems, but for a business owner, I think that's really been the biggest challenge is learning to trust your staff, bringing in the right people, and giving them the tools to be successful. So.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think that's I think that's one of the massive challenges for small business owners to begin with, and it really is the leap of going from basically just creating a position for yourself to actually being a business owner. Once you step into that realm of you not being the person that has to facilitate everything for the business to work, and that is definitely one of the hardest things to do, like you said, to let go and not get involved with things, because to let people do things, to let them handle it, to let them make their mistakes and grow from it. It's definitely not it's not easy, because like you said, like this is you have skin in the game. Like this is essentially like a child to you, because like you brought it to life and you grew it. So it's definitely a scary thing, but like you said, like obviously like having the guidance and being able to walk through this with somebody that has already done that and helped others do it many times, it definitely gives you, it allows you to build confidence a lot faster in it, rather than going it solo and wondering, okay, am I doing the right thing, and how should I be going about this, or just never even realizing that you're constantly just stuck in it, and you're the bottleneck of your business. Ben.
Absolutely. And then, Asa numerous times has called me out on if she sees a trend that she's seen before, like she'll stop me before it goes full blown and like be like, hey, what's going on with this? We can't fall into that hole again. And then also, call me on any BS, but yeah. And just, honestly, like perspective, having that mentor that can look at things. They're not directly involved in your day-to-day, and they can look at things from like that bird eye view that maybe if you're too intertwined in the business, you just don't. It's like maybe the simplest solution, but you can't see it because there's so many moving parts going on, and that's really helpful.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. That is, I think that's one of the undervalued assets of like having true mentorship on your journey is that particular reason, and it's not necessarily something that you can have a hard ROI against, but it is invaluable to have that type of resource, basically, to either just bounce things off of, keep you in check, because we all need that. We all have our tendencies of like the habits that we tend to fall back into, and if you have somebody that's not emotionally attached to the business to call you out on that and snap you out of it, then obviously it's a lot easier than trying to do that for yourself, because we're not perfect. Yeah. It's definitely it's a community effort, to ultimately get to where you want to go, and I think to reach your full potential as a person and a business owner. You have to have people like that around you to call you out when you're acting in ways or thinking in ways that aren't productive.
Yeah, and knowing what what's going to happen if you can't keep that course. Seeing into the future, like if you keep taking all these clients on, then these are things are going to fall to the wayside because you're the best suited to do those things. And I don't know, it's just good to have that, like I said, that input and that just kind of buffer to make sure that you're making the right decisions and not falling into those traps.
Absolutely. This has definitely been great, Jonathan, how much you've been able to kind of peel back the curtain for us and one, obviously share your own personal journey, and then two, really kind of show us obviously how you've been able to build your business. And again, I love what it has shown. It's shown that like you go against like the norms of what people think you need to have in order to be successful, and you really bring it back to essentially like the basics and the foundations, and you're just doing those really well. And that's essentially what builds a solid business, is knowing what like your core is and sticking to that. So I commend you for that, and I really appreciate you being able to come on here and share your journey with us and your insights. Now, as we work towards wrapping up, I mentioned a question I like to ask at the end to kind of get your perspective on things. So let's say that the roles were flipped and you were the one being like mentoring, and another gym owner came to you for that guidance based on your background and what you've walked through. What do you think is the most important thing for them to hear?
I think that's a good question. I think we talked about this before in our hot seat interview, is really focusing on the customer and the client, making sure that they are taken care of, making sure that you're not just training sessions, that you're actually getting to know them, understanding what they need and want from you as a trainer, because you're not just your trainer, you're sometimes your life coach, you know what I mean? And if they're not showing up, making sure you call them, but you're just making sure that you prioritize each and every member. It still hurts me to this day when a member cancels it might be for good, or it might be moving to a different state, and I'll still feel like, what could I have done differently to prevent them moving to a different state? Yeah, it's nothing, but it still like cuts to the core, because I really do care, and I think you really do have to care about your customers first, and really make sure you're building those strong relationships. And then on the flip side, we really try to with our staff, and I think this is important too. I've been through burnout, hell and back, being a trainer in so many different gyms. Like, we really try to, preach to our staff that, like, hey, I want to make sure you guys are okay. I don't want you coming in at 5 a.m. and then leaving at 12 and then coming back at 3 and staying till 8 o'clock at night. That's not sustainable. Really building a sustainable schedule and making sure they're okay and giving them tools to be successful. So I think the two things is focusing on those customer relationships, and obviously making sure your staff is not getting burned out is the two big things I would start with. The customers being first. I think you have to know how to build those relationships, because that's how you get referrals. That's how you keep retention high. It just makes it a nice atmosphere in the gym too, if everyone's happy.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say that's definitely some very sound advice. And if you're listening to this, I would definitely, if you can, replay that part and take notes, because those were some amazing insights that if you adapt that to your business, you will definitely level up and grow on your own journey. So that was an amazing advice there, Jonathan. I appreciate you sharing that, and thank you again for your time to come on here and to talk with our audience and be able to again share your journey. And we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate everything that you're doing in the industry, how you're helping your clients, and also how you're being a good representation as a professional in this industry.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me anytime. I love doing these things, and hopefully I can help other business owners on their journey make better decisions. And I think going back to FR, like, mentorship is priceless. A lot of times people think the investment, they hear what, the investment, like, oh, that's too much. Like, no, it's invaluable. It's really not that much in the scheme of things. And it's invaluable to have that third party be able to look at your business from a bird's eye perspective and make recommendations while taking emotion out of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it will never cost as much as your mistakes would cost.
No, and like I said, the investment for that, I mean, look, we talked about we've 8x revenue. Like, you can't. It's
it doesn't even compare. So excellent. Well, thank you again. And last thing, obviously, always like to thank you, the listener, because without you, we wouldn't have a show. So we're happy that you're looking for ways and resources to grow and improve your business, and that's something that we can never stop doing. on this growth journey that we're all on. So again, like I said, I hope you, again, don't just listen. You are now taking notes, writing down your action steps, and creating a plan to actually apply what you've learned. Even if it's one thing that you got from this conversation, what are you going to do to put it in place now? That's where you get the value. And with that being said, I look forward to having you join us on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show. Thank you so much, and take care. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode on the Fitness Business Freedom Show. On behalf of Fitness Revolution and myself, we are thrilled you are looking for ways and resources to move your business forward, and we are honored to be that source for you. If you would like to receive more business building support from us, be sure to head over to the show notes and join our subscriber list and stay on top of all the industry insights that matter most to you. Now, before I close out today's show, if you found this episode beneficial in any way, I just ask you to leave us a simple review to help other gym owners find us and discover this show. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next episode of the Fitness Business Freedom Show.